the reproduction of the so-called unfit, involved forced sterilization. And a lot of people don't realize that America has a sad history of promoting forced sterilization, which really got off the ground in the 1930s in Hitler's Germany. But before that, America, and then also England to a lesser degree, was experimenting in this. And we have a picture there of Carrie Buck. And she was the plaintiff in the case, the Buck v. Bell case, which I call the Roe v. Wade of the 1920s. In which the Supreme Court said in an 8-to-1 decision that 3 generations of imbeciles, right? 3 generations of imbeciles are enough, and now states have the right, after the Buck v. Bell decision, to forcibly sterilize their populations. And this generally tended to be people in institutions, though in theory this could have been anybody. Carrie Buck was one of those. She actually didn't even know that she was sterilized until many, many years later, after she was out of the institution. She was told she was getting an appendectomy, and when she didn't know why she couldn't have children until many years later. So this is a sad history in America. It's estimated that there's over 60,000 Americans who are sterilized without their consent and sometimes even without their knowledge. Now, Sanger supported this. She thought that this was going to be a necessary step that America had to take in order to deal with this eugenic problem. And so Sanger said, "It is now remains for the United States government to set a sensible example to the world by offering a bonus or a yearly pension to all obviously unfit parents who allow themselves to be sterilized by harmless and scientific means." And of course, if you're talking about the poor, offering them money to be sterilized might be something that some people would take up. And in fact, we know in other parts of the world that that has happened, where the poor have essentially been bribed into being sterilized. She continued, "In this way, the moron and the diseased would have no posterity to inherit their unhappy condition. Ask the government to first take off the burdens of the insane and feeble-minded from your backs. Sterilization for these is the remedy." So again, very straightforward, not hiding, really, what it is that she stood for. Now, Planned Parenthood has dealt with this skeleton, big, enormous skeleton in their closet, in various ways over the past 40 or 50 years, as people have raised this. And one thing that both Planned Parenthood and Sanger supporters would say is, well, she's not really a eugenicist. Okay, she said all of these things, but really why she did it was because all of the elite at the time were eugenicists, and she was just trying to curry favor with them. Now, there's one thing true in that statement, which is that all of the elite at the time were eugenicists, and so definitely she was putting herself in a certain category of people. However, I think that it's very clear that Sanger herself was deeply committed to these ideas, and we know this for various reasons. So, first of all, we see her eugenic language everywhere, in her public writings, as well as her private letters to her personal friends, in situations where she doesn't have to put on a face. So clearly this is something that she was really committed to. And it's interesting because, of course, the mantra behind that Planned Parenthood puts on, that Planned Parenthood reiterates today, is that Planned Parenthood is all about choice, 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 choice. But Sanger was clearly not really about choice, at least for certain classes of people, and she even recognized this. She actually didn't like the name, the changes to names like family planning, because she liked the language of birth control, because she thought that control was what Planned Parenthood really stood for and what she was all about, because some people, she believed, really should have their reproduction controlled by other people who knew better, like herself. Have you noticed that nobody ever considers themselves unfit? I've never met anybody who considered themselves unfit. You know, I mean, and same was true back when eugenics was popular. Nobody ever volunteered, yeah, I'm fit, it's true, I'm not really that fit. No, I mean, everybody, it's always something, you're always singling out other populations and deciding what's, going to happen to their reproductive systems. And that was definitely true of Sanger. So here, just to give you a sense of a couple of the depth of her commitment to these ideas. She wrote about H.G. Wells. In his last book, Mr. H.G. Wells speaks of the meaningless, aimless lives which crowd this world of ours.